Hey Simon, it's good to see you.
Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Doing all right, getting by during this whole COVID time. So
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you a few questions about everything that you're doing, the projects that are ahead, and a little backstory, because a lot of people don't know the backstory like I do. So I was
yeah,
going to ask some questions to help, illuminate a bit about you for people who are watching.
absolutely, definitely. Shame that we have to do it on Zoom. We're supposed to sort of be doing this in the Hutongs in Beijing, or doing it on a mountain in Taiwan, or
Yeah,
somewhere in Tokyo. Or, yeah, but yeah, well, it has to be done. So let's do
yeah,
it
all
before we start
right.
dropping recipes and information, just information about the cooking and stuff like that. I think it's important for um, the people, the followers, and the listeners to know what our background is and what our base is, and So, yeah, this has just the way it has to be. Let's do it over Zoom.
So how long have you been living in Japan?
I've been in Japan for 26 years now. This is my 26th year in Japan. So long time. Actually, longer. I'm from New Zealand originally. I've been in Japan longer than I lived in New Zealand. So, but actually, like about 7 years longer than I lived in. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty impressive. So you speak Japanese then?
Yeah, I speak Japanese. My Japanese is good. It's fine. And I speak Mandarin as well. So Mandarin has been a real. I've sort of been studying Mandarin on and off for I don't know, 4 years or something. But I really in the last like 2 years or so, like really started to, you know what I mean? Like I'm on sort of like 3 hours a day type program. So really sort of starting to push forward to it. So Japanese is fine. Mandarin is like a conversation fine, and basically fine. But I'm not sort of sitting down. I'm not sitting down reading the newspaper. But I'm not. I can go to China and be fine while I'm there. Yeah.
What originally brought you into like Sichuan culinary culture and Chinese culinary skills and pursuing those things in the beginning?
Right. Yeah. So I was when I first came to Japan, I was skateboarding a lot. I was a professional skateboarder, and from around about 1996 through to 2001, that was like the main reason why I was in Japan. But because of like the schedule that you have when you're a pro skateboarder in Japan, like you just really don't have any other time to do anything else. And I always really I studied martial arts when I was younger, and I always really, the one thing I said is that I sort of retire skateboarding and it starts to calm down a little bit. I would like really want to get back into martial arts. So when I finished skateboarding, I got into studying like internal martial arts, like Bagua, and also Tai Chi, and I did a little bit of Xingyi and stuff. And like through there, I developed like an interest for Chinese food in general. And I started getting more and more into it over time. But how I really got into Sichuanese food is I had a really close friend called C, who lived in Hong Kong. And she used to travel to Sichuan a lot, and she used to study like Sichuanese cooking. Not as in study, like as in like a cooking university or anything, but she used to go there and just take cooking classes in Sichuan and stuff like that, and come back to Hong Kong. And she had a house out on Lantau Island, and she used to cook like parties at a house, like cooking like Sichuanese food and stuff like that. So. And I've been going back and forth from Hong Kong since 1995. I think I've been there around about 40 times almost now. And so she invited me like to this party one night. Can't remember the exact year it was, but it was like sort of 2000, I don't know, 6, 7, something like that, around about there. And so I went to this party this night, and I didn't know what the food was, but I was so, wow, this food's like amazing, we obviously ate food, had a great night and stuff like that. I stayed there, and then the next day I was sort of interested in the food, and I said, which province of China was that food come from? Did that food come from? I know it's not, You know, it's not from like a, you know, Guangdong or, you know, from Hong Kong. Like I know it's just that's. He was like, oh, it's from Sichuan. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what's the spelling of that? So that's how I sort of got interested in that food. So when I came back to Tokyo, I started trying to find like restaurants, you know, where I could get a sort of similar flavor. So I looked up like Sichuanese like restaurants in Tokyo, and you know, the first 2 or 3 I went to, like, you know, and then one of my friends recommended to me, like, because where my office is sort of in one of this, like, you know, Tokyo doesn't really have a main downtown. It's got all bit like, yeah, it's got like a bunch of different downtowns, you know. So
Yeah.
in one of the area where I have my office, he was like, oh, have you not been to the Sichuanese place that's, you know, right next to your office? Like, it's really good. It's really, you know, it's really popular with the locals, and I know a lot of Chinese people who, you know, who eat there too. And I was like, near mine, like where's that? And it was just like, I know you've been there, but you wouldn't, like, it's not a hole in the wall, but it's not like you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
When you walk past it, if you don't know what it is, it's forgettable.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You'd walk right past it. You just assume it's because everything in the restaurant, even though it's very high quality design and whatnot, it looks aged. You know what I mean? It looks like you know what I mean? It's got like a, how do I put it? Like a 70s, 80s feel to it. You know, like the designs.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Doesn't stand out, you know? So I was like, oh, there? Like, okay. And then I went and had lunch, and oh my God. I was like, whoa, you know, like, this place is amazing, you know. And so they do this sort of thing where they have the full menu, which is running all the time, but also from Monday through to Saturday, they have like a lunch set, which is like 3 lunch sets. So you have like A, B, and C, and it's spicy, something like in the middle, you know, that, and then also something that's involving like seafood, and it just rotates like every day. So it was like really good because, like, you would get 3 different, like, yeah, most restaurants, a lot of restaurants have their lunch sets and stuff like that. Here it's like, you know, it's the same 3 things every day, and people just, you know, they're like, oh, I want to eat this day, that day, and they know that it's going to be there, so they come back and eat it. But the thing that was great about this place was that it rotates every day, you know, but you still had like the base things that you could order if you didn't see anything that you liked in the sets. So I would go there like all the time. I would go there like every day, and then sometimes I would just get like, kind of with myself, I'm like, dude, you got to go eat somewhere else, bro. Like, you know, and so I'd and eat somewhere else, and I'd be like, yeah, you know, I'm going. I just eat up there the whole time, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
It's that good. It's that good. And not only that, it's very reasonably priced, especially for the quality. Like, you know, I've been living in China for, you know, 4 years now. I've been going to China since 2013. I'll tell you what, some of the best Chinese food I've ever had was at this little restaurant, the Pio Saigon in Mitaka. You know, it was delicious.
Crazy. I mean, I saw a video recently, and there was a guy who was saying, oh, like there's no good Japanese food in China or in Taiwan, and there's no good Chinese food in Japan, blah, blah. And like, it's a difficult subject because, like, I sort of half agree with him, but I half don't. You know, like, one of the most banging Japanese restaurants that I've ever been to was in Taiwan, and it was
the one that you had recommended me to. That one was amazing. That one was absolutely amazing. Yeah, and it was a really well priced. I think in American dollars, it was like $65 for like a 8-course meal, like very traditional. It was delicious.
And you know, and that's the same thing with Tokyo. It's like, yeah, I do generally agree that it's difficult to find like real authentic, you know, what you call authentic, like, you know, Sichuanese food, or, you know, Shanghainese food, or, you know, Beijing, like, you know, but there definitely are places here that are off the hook, you know, and you just need to know where to go, and you need the context to go. And most of those places that I found out from my chef, you know, you know, but you have to remember that he's been chefing for 55 years, and he had 20 of them in Chengdu, you know, with, like, you know, in a partnership restaurant. I mean, so he's, you know, he's spent a long time in China as well and stuff like that. So usually when he recommends a place for me to go to out here, it's legit. You know, it doesn't send me to any garbage, you know. So
now he spent time. You said now you see he spent time in Chengdu. Did he spend time in other areas in China or Hong Kong as well?
So he basically ended up for one of the restaurants that he worked for. The owner was from Sichuan, and he had like his home, like his mother. What do you call it? Like the sort of the, God, my English is so bad. You know, sort of the flagship restaurant.
Okay.
Was,
Yeah.
and then one in Beijing, one in Shanghai, one in Taiwan, one in, I think it was one in Osaka, and don't quote me, but maybe one in Kobe, I think it was. And then so when my chef got up to being the head chef of like the whole franchise, so he was going around places, you know, and then
Oh wow.
and then he started a place in Sichuan as well, like partnered with a couple of guys and helped build that up. And then he left and he moved back to Tokyo, and then he started his own restaurant, which is the one that he has now. You know, so you know, I mean, because he was cooking here, one of his main stages in the Japanese bubble, you know, which was through the 80s and stuff, and the amount of money that they were making in those days was crazy, you know. So that sometimes like they, you know, they'll be so busy, like they have what they call Shinrin-kai and Born-kai here, which is the end of year parties and the beginning of year parties, and they're really, still are, like really big company culture and stuff like that. Everybody gets together. It's a big, like, you know, celebration party, you know. And you know, they were making from November through to February. Sometimes they were clocking like a mil, you know, in the bubble period, like with all the stuff that they had going on, all the out service parties. So sometimes like the chef, like not the chef, sorry, the owner would be like, "Oh, you guys did really well," like, you know, and just give them a bunch of cash and just be like, "Off you go," like go to China for like 6 months or something. He'd just go and just like travel around China and just eat, you know, just, you know, back and forth. Yeah, so
that's incredible. That's incredible. Wow.
His dad's
Wow.
anyway, so you know, so you know, his mum's Japanese, but he was born in Niigata, you know, which is
Okay.
but you know, I mean, 55 years, it's a long time. Yeah.
So how did you come to study with him?
Yeah, so what happened with me was I was just going there eating all the time. So, and obviously because I'm like a foreign eating in there, there's like basically like there's some more foreign people that are eating there now because, you know, I've put them onto them and stuff like that. But before that, it was just me. Like nobody ever, you know, came there. So obviously you end up building like a little bit of rapport with them, you know. So I was at a stage where I could just like speak to them friendly and stuff like that. And it's like one day I'd been training like martial arts in the park. And I was super starving afterwards, and I was like, oh, you know, if your second's open for lunch. So I went down there, had lunch. It was just like so good. And when I was paying the bill, because I've been studying, like I've been trying to get into like Sichuanese food myself. So I bought like Dunlop's books and stuff like that, which I still to this day think are actually great books in English on Sichuanese cooking. Would you not agree? Like I think she did it.
You turned me on to them, and I think they're really, really good for anybody to start from basics all the way up to actually like chef level books. You know what I mean? They're good. They're good quality.
In English, you know, like I think it's some of the best done in English.
Yeah, in English. Yeah, obviously Chinese. I mean, these books are insane, but like in English, I think she does a great job, and she did it pretty single-handedly. You know, like there's not many other books in English that are at that level, or chefs working together, you know, to do this. She did a lot of it, you know, single-handedly. It was good.
I got a lot of respect for her, you know, for what she's done, and she's a really nice person too. So yeah, so but anyway, so I was I just when I was paying the bill, I just said, like, you know, I was just said, man, I would just, in Japanese, I just said, man, I would just love to learn how to cook like this. And you know, chef was in the back, you know, he was cooking away in the woks, and he's just like, oh yeah, if you want to come in, yeah, come in, I'll teach you how to cook. And I was like, oh, thanks, yeah, hey, left. And then I was sort of wondering, I was like, man, like I wonder if he really meant that, like, you know, was he just was he just saying that just because, like, you know, you're a regular customer, so, you know, it's, oh, you know, come. Yeah, I mean, like, sometimes you don't,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
And then I was, man, like, you know, and I have the time, because, you know, with my business that I have time, I have free time, you know, I'm not, like, locked down to a, you know, 9 to 5 and stuff, you know, so I was like, well, no, man, you know, how often am I going to get a chance like this, you know? So I really want to do it. So I just went the next day when I went back and had lunch. I was like, were you really serious about, you know, if I can come in and learn, like, did you really mean it? And he was like, yeah. He's like, dude, I can't pay you. Like, can't pay you, you know. But you know, I guarantee you, like, I'll teach you, you know, everything I know, if you're willing to come and you're willing to put the time in, you know. So I was like, okay, when can I start? He's like, whenever you want. And then I ended up going in the next day. And then we just had a flexi schedule thing going on, because, like, as my job chops and changes around. So because it was, and my office is right next to his, you know, his restaurant. So I just ended up just, you know, I would just go in when I had time. I'd just come in, hey, how you doing? And he'd be like, hey, yeah, blah, blah. Eggplants. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Bro, I cut so much stuff. It was like, dude, like, yeah. But, you know, in the sushi restaurants in Japan, they make people wash rice, you know. And in the Sichuanese kitchens that I've been in, man, when you start out, you're cutting those vegetables, bro. Like, yeah.
No end in sight, you know.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, no. So that's how I got the start. So it was kind of random, you know. And then just everything, just, you know, from there, just, you know, and I ended up, you know, doing 9 years there, you know, and I still go back, you know, I still go back and I still study with them a lot. But now I often go back on the nights and the days that he's off, and I go in on the days that he's off, and we kind of sit down together and have dinner or have a drink and pull out all the old recipe books, you know, and he'll be like, oh, this is this, and this is from here. And, you know, people think this doesn't exist in, you know, Chonsai, but look at here, right there, this book's 100 years old. And it says it right there, bro. You know, and that's written in Chinese, you know, that's written in Mandarin, and like, so it's kind of cool, you know, like that, and it's more of a, like, it's changed into more of like a, you know, instead of like teacher student, like more into, like, you know, teacher, young teacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys have become real friends, and you've moved up in levels that he has a lot of respect for you now.
Yeah.
On your own. That's awesome. That's awesome.
He's a nice guy, but when it comes to cooking, bro, he's got no problem telling you shit telling you shit sucks, bro. He's got no problem with that, bro. I'll say it, yeah.
I mean, so you did an actual apprenticeship, correct?
Yeah. So I was, you know, and then I just got to the stage at the end where he was just like, look, you know, you're done. Like we're not done, as in, like, me and you as our relationship, and we'll always keep growing. But there's just no point in you coming in here anymore, and learning anymore, because where you're going to learn now is going out there, you know, and going and finding stuff, and going to Sichuan, and going to Beijing, and going to Shanghai, and going to Wuhan, and going to, like, you know, Taiwan, and whatever, Hong Kong, wherever you can go, yeah, you know, and study, you know, and learn, take that back into what I've taught you, you know. So, you know, you don't need to, like, spend the amount of time that you're spending now coming in, like, anymore. Spend it on something else, but still come in and see me, and we'll still go over stuff, and we'll still, blah, blah, blah. And and that was it. And he just, and he I finished up the apprenticeship, and he told me that was it. It was over, and we have a great relationship.
I think that's pretty amazing that you did a 9-year apprenticeship. I mean, today most people do these online things, or they read some books and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a chef, or they take some classes online. And there's nothing against doing that. Obviously, we're teaching stuff online, but there's definitely a difference, a solid difference between people who make the jump and actually are able to do an apprenticeship for as long as that. Like 9 years is a long time. And it's not just like, oh, I did 3 seminars a year, or I went and took distance. Like, you were with him day in and day out, daily.
9 years,
just about. For 9 years, like that's a serious apprenticeship,
Time, bro, and he was it was man to man too, Like, and
there was nobody else. Yeah, it was just you and him.
Like going to like culinary school, in China or something. It's not bad. It's great. And you learn a lot. There's no doubt about it. But there is something different being in. He's the only chef there in his restaurant, and you've seen it. You know it, like, right? Everyone who's been to, who's watching this knows it. He gets like 120 people at lunchtime, and he does it by himself, which is crazy. Any chef, what? But you've seen it. You know what I mean? Like you've witnessed it. And like, so that learning in that environment, you know what I mean? A different type of learning, like a different type of it's a different thing.
He definitely has. I mean, his whole kitchen, you can tell, is set up for one chef. He knows exactly where everything is. It's not set up for multiple chefs, like, so he can get things as fast as he can and do things. And it's a tight squeeze, but man, that's the whole point, though, is he can get things fast. I mean, watching him is pretty amazing.
He was like super like abusive on the dao fa, the from the cutting skill cleaver. Like, we have to use that for everything. Like, you notice when we're back in the kitchen there, right? There are no other knives, right? There are no other knives. There's
this one,
and fish, meat, and like fine cutting, like decorations, and like everything you do with the dao. All the sauces you make from hand. You know what I mean? Like real old school. And I think that's the thing. Like when you're saying, like when you go in there, it's got that old '80s feel, and but it's kind of like that's one thing that's so cool about the place, is because it is old school and everything is handmade and everything is authentic. And I think the flavor, I mean,
speaks for itself.
We've taken Chinese people there, people from Sichuan, people from Beijing, people from like Shanghai, from all over, people from Taiwan, stuff that we've taken there. They're blown away. Like, they're like, wow, Would you not be right? You've taken.
I still remember having one of the Beijingers who came to Japan, and she was eating some of the food, and we were like, "So how do you like this food?" And she grinned, and she didn't want to say anything. And we were like, "So what would you say the best Chinese food you've ever had?" And she goes, "What I'm eating right now in Japan." And she is like a super proud Beijinger, and she didn't want to say it, but she was like, I got to find that video. That video was hysterical because there she is dressed in a yukata, the summer dress in Japan, like traditional summer dress from Beijing. And she's like, this is the best Chinese food I've ever had. Like, that's a hard thing to pull out of one of them. You know what I mean? It was funny.
I mean, and I've had like amazing food in China too, man. And that's
there's delicious food in China, no doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
The last trip that we had, the last trip that we were on, when I came to see you, staying out there, we had amazing food experience. There's so much amazing food in China, and stuff like that. But obviously, Japan is just like right on China's doorstep. So that's the same thing as like where I was talking earlier. I heard that video. I was talking about the person who was saying, "Oh, there's just no good Chinese food in Japan." And it's like, well, that's a little bit like saying there's no good gong fu in China anymore. I mean, like it's
That's a whole nother statement. Yeah,
there's some. You know what I mean? So
there are people who are gems, who outshine, who live in other areas, who what I mean, and like. I mean, that's one of the reasons I was, I went to China to study Chinese medicine, and I ended up teaching Chinese medicine there.
Yeah, exactly. There's some, I've been to some amazing Chinese restaurants in New York. I've been to amazing Chinese restaurants in Auckland, in New Zealand. I've been to amazing ones in Sydney. There are places out there. There is good stuff, but it's just not as abundant as it is, in China. You know what I mean? So, but so that was basically it. That's the. And now I'm just sort of like getting to the stage where it's like, okay, well, where do we take it from now? And I don't really want to have a restaurant, to be honest. just because of all the other things that I have going on in my life that are important to me, like my martial arts, like really, really important to me, and like like my family, friends, and that stuff is like really, really important to me too, and my travel and my learning and all the different arts that I'm learning at the moment are really important. So, any ever had a restaurant, will tell you that that's 24/7, man. Like, that's your life, so I'm more of like where I want to put all together private parties, cooking schools, traveling, meeting people, learning, teaching, documenting stuff, and then sort of continuing to grow and continuing to I don't want to get caught into the thing where I have a restaurant and I have to make this because this is what the 90% of the people who come for lunch like. You know what I mean? Like, I want to keep the love of like like that's one reason why I do the parties at the restaurant, and chefs says, okay, so what do you want me to cook for this party? And I just go, anything. I don't care. Like, everybody who's coming, they can all eat spice, they can all eat fish, they can all eat meat, innards, like any vegetables, anything, anything. Just don't bring me anything before. He'd be like, okay, and he loves it, and he gets into all and bring me out, and like those parties. How many of those have you been to?
Quite a few, and they are some of the best like experiences in my life, to be honest. Like food wise, it is insane. Company wise, it's fantastic as well. But when you put them both together,
and
wow,
just so many dishes that you just never ever see.
And some of the things that he's come out and explained and how he cut them. Like the time we did when we had my friends from America come over, and he did that lamb hot pot, and he cut the lamb paper thin with a knife, not a meat slicer. He did it, and he came out and he explained, I did this all by hand, and this stuff is like curled on itself, thinner than salami, and you're like, how in the hell? Wow. Like, it was just incredible. And the meat just kept coming out. It wasn't like he gave you a little meat. It was like the trays just kept coming, and he like was hand slicing it in the bag. You're like, this is insane, man.
And just so many dishes where you just like, what? You just never seen it before. And then he'll just go grab one of his old books, because he's got all these old encyclopedias and stuff like that on Chonsai and stuff. He'll be like, right there, and you just like, damn, go read it, read it in Mandarin, and just be like, wow, okay, damn, fair enough. But he loves it because he's sick of cooking like the everyday lunch, because so he really wants to have like a real blank where he can just go, and just like, so so because you're gonna be part of this channel as well, because one thing that I want everybody to know as well is that one thing that we're going to do this year that I think is a little bit different from what a lot of other channels have is that Marc is a highly skilled Chinese doctor, and we're going to be able, what we're going to do with the channel is we're going to have like the medicinal breakdown of like all the recipes that we're putting up, like different sauces or soup stocks or cooking methods or cutting methods, or all the things about different like the seasonal aspects of why you're eating this in this season or this kind of weather, or blah blah. So Marc's going to be taking care of all that side of things. So let's hear from Marc now and just find out more about him and his background and stuff like that, because he's going to be playing just as big a part of this channel. Just as big a part on this channel as I'm going to be. So yeah, Marc, if you could please fill us in with your basic background and basic history and stuff.
So I went to school. I got an undergraduate degree in biology and took a lot of focus on physioneurobiology at UConn. And then after that, I went to the Swedish Institute in New York City, where they had a Chinese medical program that was actually founded by and predominantly taught by Jeffrey Yuen. And so I graduated from that program, 2 degrees from there, a bachelor's and a master's. And then I went on to start a series of clinics in New York and Connecticut. And I ran those for a number of years, and I treated everything that came through the door. And I was always pulled towards dietary medicine, you know, because you always have these patients who come in and you want them to get better, and realize they just eat terribly, and you're like in an uphill battle, and it just became one of the most important things. So really pushing dietary medicine and this and that. And it was great when I met Simon, because not only do we both love Chinese Kung Fu, Chinese martial arts, the Chuantong Wushu, but he fills in a lot of the real traditional aspects of the cooking Kung Fu, like the cooking skills that you can read a lot in the book. Oh, this is good for this, or this is good for that. But like, to see somebody who studied for so long actually do it, like, and you see how they're doing it, and there's a lot of skill that goes into it. You're like, this is why it becomes medicinal. You know, there's a process to it, you know, and you're interacting with your food, and you know, it adds chi to it, you know, like adds this interaction. It builds it. Even things that, you know, Simon would show me, he like, see these vegetables are wilted or they're not so good. Watch this. When I'm done with them, they're going to be, you know, bright and big, and they're going to have all this, like, they're going to have like a oomph to them. And sure enough, like, you just see these things, even in the, you know, even in the wok, just, you know, build up and everything. You're like, this is amazing. Like, this really can add chi to your food. And so seeing that firsthand, Simon and I got really into thinking about and talking about more of the food aspects and the medicine aspects. And we used it for our martial arts when we trained together. And to see amazing results with that, things, we go out in Japan and train for 7 hours on days where it was like 40 plus Celsius, right? So super hot. And we go back, and Simon would cook a meal, and we feel like you were re-energized and refreshed immediately after sweating and just being, you know, training martial arts, throwing each other around, being covered in dirt and bruises and everything. And you're like, this is where the true medicine lies. Yeah. So yeah, it was something. So after talking to him and him explaining what he wanted to do, I really just said, oh man, I'd love to be part of this. And so yeah, so he told me about the channel, and I said, yeah, please make me a part of this. And so this is our goal, is to really combine.
And it's really amazing. Like, it's great to have you on here. Like, I think that the viewers are going to get like so much benefit from this. You know, they're going to learn so much. And one thing that I had with the just because we just put up the opening promo just a couple of days ago. Had a lot of people asking about, oh, what's the triangle that you're talking about, and that we talk about the triangle there. So you explain that better than me. So can you break to the viewers like what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that triangle and how it forms as a triangle?
So this idea is the idea of food as a basis, and medicine, and then physical culture. And that can include martial arts and training, and even, you know, mental aspects of meditation, and all these aspects of like just living in a body, right? And so food is your foundation. It can be your medicine, and it's the foundation for everything you're going to do in life. And so, but medicine influences food. So you can have certain aspects and certain recipes or certain ways you cook things that make food highly medicinal beyond just nutritious and general things that you eat for sustenance. You can actually, it can have a curative aspect and help to prevent and treat disease. And then physical culture feeds into medicine and vice versa, because there are aspects in the physical culture where you might need help from medicine, but also you can support it with food. Or your physical culture might be your medicine, or aspects of the physical culture come from, for example, you know, thousands of years of growing your own food, you know, and having to help the farmers loosen up and stretch out, and you know, all these aspects of things like that. So all of this is connected, and this is our goal in this channel, is to like really bring forth Chinese culinary culture, the true Kung Fu, and the ideas, and understanding why it's actually so integrated. Because today people don't realize this. You know, you go to a restaurant or you go to a place, and I mean, you eat the food, it tastes good, but you don't realize there could be a deeper side to it, you know. And Simon really understands that, and he's shared that with me, and I've shared with him the medicinal sides of how things are connected. And we just realized, like, this is a whole web, you know, this triangle. It's all connected. You know, it's not just one strand; it's thousands, you know, that are holding everything together, whether people realize it or not.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know, it's just having that, you know, like the legs of the table. You know what I mean? That are just, you know, that are just like holding each one holds the other one together. You know. And you know, food is so important, because like we just put so much in our body. Like we just, like, you know, but like just all day, 3 times a day for most people. It's what, you know, food is what we put in our bodies. So it's like really, 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 really important to understand, like, you know, you can't really have this just flat thing of like, you should eat this or you should eat that, because you have to understand like what climate you're in, what hemisphere you're in, like what, you know, what, like how humid it is, how dry it is, like what you've personally been doing, what you personally do every day, like, you know, so you need to be able to learn the principles to be able to make your own gauge of like what, you know, what you should be eating and what you should be, you know, what type of medicine you should be, you know, traditional medicine you should be, you know, and taking or getting, or and you know, what type of physical culture you should be doing to support, you know, everything. So that's what I was talking about with the triangle, and that's what we're going to spend a lot more time getting into. So we are thinking of basically every recipe that I'm putting up. Marc's also going to do like a medicinal like breakdown of why we're making it and what the benefits are for it, and, you know, from that recipe. And, you know, it might even be cases of like people who shouldn't be eating this, or, you know, I mean, as well, like, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the education, right? Is like knowing, you know, anything can be medicine, but doesn't mean everything is medicine for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a big important thing. So, and that's a great part. We'll go over too, like methods, like different methods of cooking that actually change the medicinal aspects, or just the you could call them the like the thermogenic properties of the food. You know, steaming things cools things, baking things dries and warms things. All these different aspects of, and then what, you know, what they'll affect more, what they, you know, what they'll have a strong effect on if you're trying to do things, what will strengthen certain aspects of foods, what will weaken certain aspects of food. All this stuff it's been around in Chinese cuisine and Chinese medicine for centuries, if not millennia, and so it's time that it's made accessible in a broad scale to an international audience. So that's our goal.
And another thing as well that I think we're definitely get heavily into, you know, we're getting into all the food, but we're definitely going to get deeply into soup culture, because
yes,
soup culture is such a big part of not just like Chuan Sai, but like any Zhongguo Sai, you know, like it's just like, you know, so, you know, and soups are where it's at, bro. Like they are so good. They are so good for you, you know.
I didn't realize how much I loved soups. I mean, I've always loved soups, but I didn't realize how, like, it hit me in the heart one day when I was in Japan. It was summertime and you were making these soups, and I was like, I need more of this in my life. Like, it was so good. Like, I was like, I've always loved soups, but I've never realized personally that, like, I need soup in my life. Like, it's just, you know, the broth of life, you know, it's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get into all that, and that's gonna be like really, really exciting. And then you know, like we're just starting this, so it's not all going to be perfect. We're going to do the best we can do in the beginning, and we're going to learn as we're going, and so learn as we're going. So, and learn as we're growing. But it's going to be great to have you guys on here as well, like all your subscribers, and it's just going to be really, really good to just start this journey and just see where it like leads us all to, because we're still learning too. Like one of our main things is that we always continue to learn and strive to learn. We never ever think like, oh, we're some kind of like masters, and we just learning. Yeah, and for us, like, you know, we're the type of dudes who get like frustrated at ourselves. We're like, why did I know this? Yeah.
Out there training the same drill for thousands of times in a day just so you can get it down when it comes to things like martial arts or whatever, or cooking, or even like acupuncture, for example, out there on yourself, doing it over and over till you get this certain needle technique or something down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the dishes that I share with you guys, you know, whether it's private that we're doing. Oh, that's one thing you've touched on. It's like a thing that we have been doing before the whole Corona thing is like we've been really getting doing private parties. And where have I been cooking? We were cooking Beijing. We've done a bunch of Beijing, and Hong Kong, New York, Connecticut, Vancouver, Australia, New Zealand. Tokyo, and so we were really starting to get some momentum, like flying around.
Yeah.
Could you explain to them a little bit about the Hutong in Beijing?
So the Hutong is an organization that is based on preserving and teaching like Chinese culture and like kind of like historical cultural knowledge as well. And it's built in it's inside a 15th century Ming Dynasty Hutong. And they teach everything from cooking classes, the class on teas, calligraphy. They do Chinese medicine classes. I've taught some there. They'll do herb walks. There's a local park, Ditang Gongyuan, the Temple of Earth Park, and it's basically in modern times it's been dedicated to herbal medicine, and so they grow herbal medicine like in the park, sort of half cultivated, half wild. So they do walking tours. They do walking tours of Beijing to show like the ancient city and different aspects of history. So it's all about this, and it's all they're centered in this Hutong. So many of the classes are there, and it's just absolutely amazing. And so they have reached out to us on many of occasions to do things together. In fact, just this morning, one of their members reached out to me and said she would like to try to do something more with the cooking and also Shibafa and these different aspects. Shibafa is a physical culture activity from a Chinese, group. And then she also mentioned a medicinal class. So that would be the medicine. There's a triangle again. And they really enjoy this. So the Hutong is a great organization. If any of you guys are interested in it, message Simon or I, and we can put you in touch with their page on Facebook. They do online classes. They do classes in person when things open up. They have a center in Beijing. They have one, I think, in Shanghai. They have one in Hong Kong, and they have one in Taiwan, in Taipei. So I would highly suggest them for anybody who's interested. It's very, very cool. There's just, everything about them is cool. They're a very genuine group of people working to teach and spread and support old Chinese culture and things like that. So we worked with them. We've worked with them now multiple times.
Four times. Yeah, I think
4 times. Yeah.
So and it's been fantastic. Yeah, and it's really good. And we've done some great stuff in New York. I won't forget that private
that was an awesome one out there. And was it Fifth Avenue? There's an apartment up there on Fifth Avenue. That was great, man.
When you live in large, eh?
That was nice.
Too, it's beautiful in Connecticut. We had some amazing ones.
Great.
We had some amazing ones in Tokyo too, like Naomi's place. Remember Naomi's place with the garden.
Unbelievable, like in the middle. Yeah. So these places are great. They're phenomenal. And we hope that as everything opens, if we get enough responsiveness, we'll be able to do small cooking events in schools in different areas around the world. That's one of our goals too, is to help spread this stuff and help the traditional culture grow authentically, like in a very authentic manner.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. That'd be pretty much would you agree with me? That'd be pretty much a decent summary of like what we try and do,
I would say that sums it up.
Yeah. Like we did, we're really looking forward to growing the channel and getting to the people who have subscribed to that and trying to get stuff going on where it's getting interactive and we're learning, we're learning from you guys too, because I'm sure there's out there that got a lot of things that we can learn as well. So it's going to be great. I'm excited. As far as
looking forward to it.
The actual channel goes. So this interview right now that we're doing now is up soon. And then I'll let this sit here for a little while, so you guys, like 3-4 days or something like that, so people get a chance to see it and find out what the channel's about. And then we'll start dropping the recipes. And the first recipe that we're going to do is not so much a recipe as in you'd serve your family, but we're going to be learning how to make the basic base stock, which is called xiantang in Mandarin. So we're going to be learning how to make the basic base stock, because it's obviously not with every dish in Sichuanese food, but pretty much every dish you want to make, you need to use some of this, as Marc knows. So we're going to do that, and then after that, a couple of days later, I'll start dropping like recipes. when they build up a bit, I'll start getting a playlist going on, and might have like a little bit more of an advanced section, and then we'll have like very like basic recipes sort of section, and then we might have another section for like cutting skills and wok skills, and maybe in a section for Marc to, if he just wants to go into anything that he wants to go about you know, certain medicinal aspects of certain things, or why you cook it like this, or what that's cooking it like this. And you know, what's the differences between steaming and boiling, and you know what I mean?
Definitely, absolutely. It's going to be, imagine like a book you'd buy on Chinese medicine, but digitally online. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like where you can, like, you're clicking, you're seeing the video. Like that's kind of, it'll be like that. And we're gonna do our best to bring you guys everything we know, and also things we're still learning, because it's a continuous learning process even for us. But you know, we spent out many years in this. Between Simon and myself, we have over 2 decades of experience in our field. So, yeah, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, between the two of us, we've been in Asia like over 30 years. You know, between you know, and like you said, yeah, we got your 2 decades worth of experience in all of those 3 fields. That's why
all those 3 fields. Yeah, definitely. So we'll yeah, I look forward to continuing this. It's going to be really, really good in the days to come. Yeah, look forward to that broth, Simon. I'm really excited, man.
I'm really excited. So yeah, so thank you guys. Thanks to Marc. Thank you, Marc. And
thank you, Simon.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to doing this. Marc's looking forward to doing this, and hopefully you guys are looking forward to doing this. And please also let us know in the comments and stuff like that. Like if people are feeling a little bit like, well, I didn't quite get how to do that recipe, or like that was a bit too difficult, or can we get a little totally, like, let me know what you're feeling, you know, and that'll help me be able to gauge, you know, where I should be, you know, what level I should be dropping stuff for the people who are watching it, because we're going to get a lot of people from different backgrounds, you know, like I know chefs who are going to be watching it, but I also know like people who are just starting out who really want to learn, and I want to, you know, be able to try and, you know, to help as many people as I can, you know, and Marc does as well. So definitely.
So, alrighty, thank you guys, and thanks, we'll see you soon. Thanks, man. I'll see you soon, bro.
Yeah, bro. Okay. See ya.
Take it easy.
Good night. Bye.